being said, though, we were going to cover Creature Commandos, the first 2 episodes last time, but now there's 3 out. So me and Gigi decided, why don't we go ahead? Commandos 1 through 3, James Gunn's new show will be the we will be getting into. But before we do that, there is some business to take care of. Always. Comic book of the week in Juju once a week. Take down a comic book that was just released this past Wednesday. So with that being said, Juju, you want to tell them what book it is, or you got it?
Sure, you're on a roll, man.
We have DC Batman Dark Patterns #1. The writer was Dan Waters. Waters. Art by Hayden Sherman and colors by Triona Farrell. The cover price was $4.99. Came out on December 11th, so that was this past Wednesday. Page count 24, and it's rated teen, which I will say this is not a kid's book.
Oh no. This is one that you put high up on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. This is good old Batman with a twist, you know? Like Batman fighting crime, you know?
It's him doing the keyhole detective stories, which are the ones that I particularly like the most. The world's greatest detective needs to do something detective related from time to time, you know?
Yeah, so and it's a mini series, so it's pretty fast paced. Like
Yeah.
you open the book, it's like him getting the night started, which the intro is beautiful. Like
Yes.
I'm kind of mad I didn't pull this book. I'm kind of mad I didn't pull this book, man. Like fuck it. I pull so much Batman that like my Batman box is tight right now. Like I'm gonna have to have a whole another box here soon. So but it's because the more and more I read like modern, the more I pull DC shit. So
Yeah.
but Batman Dark Patterns, yeah, the intro is just basically like Batman starting his night off, you know, and then the bat signals in the sky and he's going to a crime scene and it's brutal. Like there's this creepy fucking like
medical examiner, I believe.
Which he had a sketchy story about him and getting kicked out of Florida for some odd reason.
Yes.
And Gordon was like, it's better than nothing, though. It's like, wait, so you know he's sketchy, but you're this is the problem with Gordon, man. He sometimes...
I think this is a problem with Gotham. There are certain positions, I mean, like, granted, in the city, yes, you do need a medical coroner. Pull from outside the city fucking limits, because anybody who's gonna take that job in Gotham is fucked.
Are you listening? Like, are you listening? Are you listening, motherfucker?
I mean, they even said, like, what happened to the previous coroner who, like, basically got fucked with by the Joker. And it's like, if you're going to take that job, you have to be a little, like, loose in the screws. And I think Gordon is aware of that fact, which is why he's able to kind of hand wave that discussion. And it's like, well, that's either an obvious red flag or that's some sort of red herring. But it's a red something.
This is kind of off topic, but speaking of like loose cannon Gordons, that's why I like the current Batman run. Like 154, like like the thing they're doing like with 150, like I think it was 155 or 156, where spoiler alert, you find out he's fucking the mayor's wife, and it's just like I'm digging this Gordon. Loses his job and says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna risk it all, baby."
And like I mean, like we've seen Gordon, he's so by the book, and like that's kind of one of the, I don't know how far you are in Gotham the TV show, but like for a while, that was my main problem with Gordon, was that he was too by the book, and Bullock was
Well,
too bend the rules.
Nah, you're kind of wrong though, because in early season 1, he fake kills the Penguin. And he lets that lie ride out to the point where he gets arrested by the feds. Like, so that wasn't a very by the book play on his end. Like, you know, like
oh,
I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
Other than that, yes.
He's very
but
moral. You know what I'm saying? Like
no,
his morality is very rigid, whereas Bullock's is very like bent. You know, like
100%, 100%. But back to Dark Pattern.
Yeah, back to Dark Pattern, because like this may
but-
be a huge Gordon fuck up.
Yeah, so there's this weird dude, and Batman immediately pulls Gordon to the side. He's like, I don't trust this guy, and he's like, dude, you're gonna have, like, it's fine, blah blah blah. So they find out that like these dudes are being tortured to death. Explain. I've done a lot of talking.
Basically what he's doing is he's keeping them alive, but he's also doing it's very, if you, what was going through my mind this entire book was the movie Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Very much like that. Like, you know, have a dude isolated in his room and just fuck him up and torture him relentlessly. And I mean, gory and graphically portrayed, by the way. They blurred nothing.
Nah, not at all. They kept it $150 on this one, which
yes. And I mean, I looked, it's viscerally like kind of getting me a little reaction, because like it's something I don't really want to look at again. But come to find out too that these guys are all connected, in that I believe the connection was they all suffered something to a loved one or a family member,
and left alone.
And left alone. Yes, thank you.
Left alone in pain.
Yep.
And
you know, they go, you see the one guy, but there's been another guy who was killed previously that they don't even show you, they just reference, and they tell him like he was a lawyer that worked for the like corporate entities of Gotham, doing some real fucked up shit, and shit went south for this dude and he ended up murked. So they go to his office to steal his files to see like what's going on, and there's a shit ton of security, like way more than
they
normal.
should be for a dead guy.
Yeah. And even
Batman like, has to fight a bunch of fucking security guards, and they all shoot at him. And
which, by the way, how many times did we see this panel as a promo in other DC books?
Yes, holy shit, dude. I was getting tired of getting to the end of my DC books and there just being this Dark Patterns preview. Like, I was like, all right, the first time I read it, I was like, all right, that's kind of sick. You put
that's kind of sick, yeah.
And now I'm like, all right, dude, can I get a different preview? Like, any other preview would do. Like, I already like it. I'm reading it. We're reviewing it right now. We're gonna tell people, spoiler, to read this book.
Yes. And I mean, he gets a hold of the file, so he gets shot too in the process, by the way. So, like, it also proves that the armor is not like infallible like other incarnations of Batman, where bullets are just like flying off of him.
Nah, I thought he didn't get shot until he fights the dude. Wrong. No, maybe he does get. Maybe he does get shot.
He does get shot before, because he goes into the cave, and that's when he starts.
Yeah, you're right.
And there's the back and forth between him and Alfred about Batman getting fucked up all the time, and he's trying to get this bullet out, which was one of my favorite parts of that comic book, by the way. Just like the subtle detail of the Bat Cave and the Bat Pewter, and how they got all the medical stuff out, and you know, basically Bruce Wayne's like, no, I can do this. And like, he's like, you're sewing the bullet into your skin. Let me just take this and do it for you.
I think my favorite part was literally the beginning. Like, just that shot with the bat signal in the sky. Like, that shit was badass. Like, I really do dig the art in it, though.
Yes. And I also loved how there are older looking vehicles, but it is like sort of an anarchistic, like, could not necessarily as bad as like the prime Batman, but there were like little things that looked old, but there's also a lot of shit that looked new too. It's kind of like that old Gotham, new Gotham overlay.
Well, it's set in the early years of his career.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, it's supposed to be a little bit earlier on in Batman. It makes sense.
Yeah. I love the aesthetic of Gotham, by the way, in this. It is dark, it is gritty, it is a nasty place
What
that
do you
you
think
don't
about
want to
the
go
suit?
in. I like the suit. I don't mind it too much. It's very reminiscent of Keaton's Batman. Especially with the logo.
I like the yellow.
Um, yeah.
The yellow.
It pops.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting tired of seeing like either all black or all gray Batman.
Well, it feels like, well, dude, that's why I like the Gargoyle Gotham suit, because it's that gray and
Yes.
black, and it's like that new,
Yes.
like, tweaked, like, style. Like, oh man, dude, I need that in Arkham Knight as a down.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Nah, dude. But yeah, basically though, they figure out who the next target is, and Batman tries to go save him. And the guy is there, and he's covered in nails and knives and all sorts of shit, like in pressure points and arteries. So Batman's like, I can't hit him because if I hit him anywhere, he'll die. And this guy he's like, this guy's gonna start hitting me, which he does. And it's just like the dude looks gruesome.
Yes, like horrifically gruesome. And might I add, kind of sometimes in certain Batman stories, the villains kind of go a little off the rails a little bit in reality. And I know that this is not something that can actually happen, but if it could, that's what it would look like, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
I liked that. I liked when there was that one panel where I think Batman's about to get punched, where you see the rebar just sticking out of the dude's arm, and all the like.
Mac is
it's
just
like
literally
Pinhead.
covered in nails.
He's like Pinhead on steroids, you know?
Yeah, dude. He's like a sketchier made version of Pinhead, dude.
Yeah.
You want to explain the rest of that scene?
So the guy, the intended victim, ultimately has a shotgun and manages to fire off a shot at the guy, and he jumps out the window. And Batman's like, "Well, fuck, what? Why'd you do that?" Kind of like, he won't talk now.
Yeah. So Batman gets some files, and he realizes. He not files. He remembers seeing uh, a thing in a book.
Yes,
that looked
from
like
his father.
that looked like this guy that he fought, and it's some weird ancient like torture thing that relieves pain though. It's like a torture method that relieves sorrow and pain. And said that he thinks this guy is freeing these dudes from pain.
Yes.
So I think I think we're in to find out who this is and what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, I think we know what they're doing. I think that's figured out. Going after people.
Yeah, and interesting villain. Interesting villain.
Very interesting villain.
We don't know much. We're not going by much. But oh my god, new fear unlocked. Never do acupuncture because that shit. No, thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait for the trade hardcover on this one though. I already missed the first issue. But I'm definitely gonna read the rest of it. I'm very excited to read it.
Yes, I'm definitely pulling this. I want to keep reading. I like this Batman. I like all Batman. It's really hard for me to pick a bad Batman book, but I want to keep reading this one. I want to see more of it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Fun. It's early years Batman, so there's a lot they can just make up. Good stuff. It's good stuff. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. I give it a 10.
Yes.
I think it was all around art stuck out. You know, it didn't feel like super hyper realism or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
felt like some classic comic book artwork. I take it however you will. I don't know. I like when I can tell my comic book's a comic book. Some it just looks too. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but I don't always want that.
Yes, and there are some times where comic books go into almost like that uncanny valley territory, and it's a little off-putting. But this book doesn't do that.
Nah.
And I like Batman when when he's in out of the costume too. I like that design. Yeah, because I think there are certain artists who do Batman very very well, but they don't really pull off the Bruce Wayne part. So it's all about finding that balance.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's also the problem with a lot of the movies, you know.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of Batman and DC, Creature Commandos, the highlight of the evening.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit. James Gunn's new animated series. You know what
Yes,
I'm
and I want
saying?
more.
Woo woo.
Yes, air horn that shit, motherfucker. Um, and again, we've said this before. We are not like James Gunn stands. We're like, oh, we love. We've
Well,
liked him since early in his career.
I would say I would say I'm a stan. I defend him pretty hard against people. I love the Scooby Doo live actions. I love
Yeah,
Peacemaker. I think the Guardians movies are really good. Um, so I probably had to say I'm a stan. Like
yeah. I mean,
I'm not like, oh, Guardians 3 is his only good movie. Like, I'm not one of those
that's
people.
kind of what I'm. That's what I'm getting at. That's where I refer to him as stands. Is like they latched on to the last big thing he did. And we are like true fans in that we liked him from early in his career. Um, uh, that being said, holy hell. Um, you want to just dive into the first episode, or
Oh no, I mean we can just talk about the show in general.
all right, fair.
I'm not gonna probably
Give
give
us,
everybody a episode play by play. I mean,
yeah,
it's it's really good, dudes. Basically, James Gunn took this old group from Weird War Tales and like made his own version of it. That's like their first appearance, and
yes,
changed it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's a team of just monsters. There's a robot who loves to kill Nazis. His name is GI Robot.
I robot,
Uh, Also, big spoiler alerts during.
yeah,
Um, Rick Flag Sr., the guy who plays Rick Flag Sr. in the new Peacemaker season, voices his character because they're the same people. Um, there's the bride who's the bride of Frankenstein.
nine,
There's the Weasel. Mad crazy
yeah.
thing. Named Dr. Phosphorus.
Yes, and he's basically fire incarnated. I think like he basically can melt things and shoot fire and do kind of crazy stuff. But
I don't
he's
think it's
played by
fire. I think it's like some weird kind of shit. Like,
yeah.
'cause he's green.
I mean, I use fire as like as something that I can relate it to because I don't know what it is. It's more of a descriptor than it is like an
But
actual.
yeah, basically Amanda Waller's not allowed to use humans anymore or the Suicide Squad, so she has to use monsters, and she used all these guys because they were all locked up in a prison, and it's the same ordeal essentially, and they have to go save people, and it is really fucking good because the way it feels like James Gunn is playing it, whatever's canon in the cartoons.
And then in the movie, yeah,
Yeah,
they're in the
so
same universe.
yeah, so it's really fun. You know what I mean? There's references, this, that, and the third. Um, Comes out on HBO every Thursday at like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard, whatever that is. Canada, it's like Adult Swim.
That makes sense. I think when I looked it up, it was 12 p.m., 12 a.m. for them, 3 a.m. for us on the West Coast.
But yeah, dude, no, the voice acting's amazing. I mean, you got fucking, how do you say his name? Alec Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, he has literally been in everything.
Yeah.
You may know him as the pirate from Dodgeball.
Well, you probably no. If you watch this show, you probably know him as Clayface.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's Dr. Phosphorus and the Weasel. So I mean, you got him and tons. I mean, dude, it's just stacked. Like it's all done so well. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing not watching this show. Like from start to finish. Like, and it feels and so far it seems like every episode after the first episode is kind of like an introduction episode to each character.
Yes. And they do a lot of like flashbacks, but it's not janky like other cartoons or shows would do. It actually it's pretty fairly seamless. And I really think each character gets their time to shine. I like how they do that. It seems very Justice League in my opinion, which is a good thing. And I gotta say, man, the animation in this is probably some of my favorite that I've seen so far, and that's also including X-Men '97 in that. Like just literally flawless execution in how to do an adult animated show.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely like violent as fuck. Like,
Yes.
do not watch this with your kids.
No.
18
Holy
and up.
fuck.
You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like there's death, there's sex, there's cussing,
there's casual mass murder.
yeah, you know what I mean? Reference to mass murder, like kids dying. The Weasel was locked up because he ate what, like 10 or 30 kids or some shit like that?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And they just hand wave it like, oh yeah, but he's mostly harmless now. Like, what?
But yeah, they basically gotta go help protect this queen of this other. It doesn't go so well, because
No.
in the second episode, what are you gonna say?
We have yet to mention the overarching threat. Circe from Themyscira.
Oh well.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Go ahead now.
Basically, she has amassed an army of incels and angry individuals who have an axe to grind. And they're they're attempting a hostile takeover of this nebulous Eastern European country.
And while they're all protecting it, Bride, he decides to go look for something.
Yes.
Because they're near where she was created. She was looking for a necklace, and somebody sees her, and it was one of Frankenstein's minions. Because you come to find out, it was actually a pretty like sad episode. Like it was a good episode, but it was sad because like, I don't know, man. Like the whole thing of Frankenstein, like she was made to be in love with Frankenstein, but she's like afraid of him, and she ends up falling in love with the doctor who creates her. Frankenstein kills him because he walks in on them having sex. And then she's fighting Frankenstein for the next 200 years and like running away after him trying to find her.
Yes.
Like, dude, Frankenstein monster.
Yes. And such a like there's only but so many ways, like so many times that a woman can just tell you no. That is
Yeah, like she's just
final.
not into you, man.
Yeah.
Not that
Like
into you. Is there a movie called that? Like somebody show him it. Like
yes, it's yeah, he's not just not that into you. I don't remember how it's called, but yeah. Uh, Take the hint, bro. Take the hint.
yeah. Yeah, man. Like somebody tell this man. I don't know. Like they literally like fist fight for 200 years, and she constantly runs away from him. It's insane. But he finally finds her, and fucking what's her name shows up.
Seriously.
Yeah.
See, and the gang of incels show up, and shit goes fucking south real fucking quick. um,
Yep. And take the bride and yeah.
yes,
Well, no. After they beat the shit out of the bride's
yes,
like ass, like they like shit out of the bride. The bride also has a highlight moment where she just whoops ass, and it's the most
yes.
dopest thing ever. Made me fall in love with her. I was like, all right, I see why this guy. I was questioning how this guy fell in love with a dead chick, and now I'm like, I get it. The badass.
Also, oh so fine looking. Um,
Yeah,
sorry, gotta throw that out there. Um,
I agree with you.
and then actually, I gotta say, I got a kind of hard on. Not hard. I got the hots for the. He's definitely well animated.
You're a goober, dude.
I'm sorry, man. um, and then I think episode 2 ends on the cliffhanger, which brings us to episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, fucking episode 3 is a GI robot highlight. It
Yes,
highlights the
and
background. Get a whole background on how GI robot came to be and how he ended up in the prison. They all show up at the castle that they were. Bride's chained up. Nina's upstairs in a bathtub with barbed wire. GI robot rips the bathtub and like they're like, why? Long story short, they're like, why'd they just leave you here? Realize it was a trap. So, but during all of that, there's these flashbacks of GI Robot, and
yes,
like like he literally was created to kill Nazis. A flashback of him in his first battle, and right after the battle, he's like an AI robot. And after the first battle, this lieutenant or whatever is like, he's one of the boys.
yep,
And you can see GI kind of like has like feelings when he says that. And the rest of the episode progressively just shows you more and more of his background over time.
yep.
And yeah, does an interview, and he's talking about like, yeah, everybody here a Nazi because they will be eliminated. And the guy, he's like, "Are you a Nazi?" He's like, "No, why would you ask me that?" He's like, "Because that's what." And he's like, they're talking about how he wasn't built for things like that. And there's this doctor there, and he's like, "I want to study him. I want to
Yep.
study him." And basically, he gets a hold of GI Robot, and they show that like this guy, and this is like back during World War or whatever.
I think the interview was about 20 years after World War II because in
Yeah,
the conversation in the lab, he basically
yeah,
explains
yeah,
it would have been like the 60s.
Yeah, so the 60s. Basically, in the 60s, you see that he gets a bunch of upgrades, essentially.
Yeah.
Because he wants to build a better version of him, like an army. And
Yeah.
then over the years, he gets sold and over to different people throughout the government, and he eventually gets pawned off to random collectors. Soldier collectibles shop, and this guy buys GI Robot, and he he gives him a home. You know what I mean? It seems like they're having a friendly life with him and these cats. And then he's like, "I'm gonna take you to this meeting so you can see the cause." And they get to this meeting. It's a bunch of fucking like skinhead
It's a bunch
Nazis.
of neo-Nazis,
Yeah, and GI Robot notices that they all have Nazi tattoos and shit, and he's like, Nazis, and he's like, he basically tells the dude, I have to kill you, and he shoots him and then kills everybody in there. And then you see that he goes on trial, and they trial him as a human, innocent people. I don't know if they were innocent in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm like, no crime, no foul here, in my opinion.
They bought a gunslinging robot to use for some.
And one of the cool things I would like to kind of point out is when the guy shows him his collection, in the background you can see Confederate Army uniforms. So that's like a subtle nod to the twist that is coming later, you know.
Yeah, I had a feeling when he said the cause. I was wondering what it was gonna be, but I did not.
Yeah.
I did not think it was gonna be Nazis. So, but yeah, basically after all those, then you basically figure then it pans to him now, and they're back at the castle. And the castle, they're all fighting and going to war. And GI Robot asks Rick Flag, "Are these guys Nazis?" And Rick Flagstein's like, "Actually, GI, they are."
Yes.
And GI Robot starts going crazy, shooting everybody. And evil homegirl comes crashing in. And sadly, spoiler alert, she kills our man GI Robot. Which I don't think is the end of him. I think there's gonna be something else with GI Robot. I don't think that's the end of him.
I mean, he just like. Also, like, apparently how you turn him on is just pour gasoline down his throat.
Yeah, that was funny as hell. I mean, he was made in, like, the 40s, so...
40s, that kind of makes sense. Like,
he's an AI robot from the 40s.
Like, I get the feeling that they have his head, have the rest of his body. He's a robot. You can put him back together. Or at least like another, like take the CPU out and put it in like another incarnation if it's not too badly damaged. I'm putting reality in a cartoon. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like I just don't see this being the end of him. If it is, rest in peace to our boy. I really hope it's not. But I guess this Thursday we'll find, or this Wednesday we'll find out. I love that it's low-key Wednesday night for me because we get done planning at 1 a.m. So I just stay up till 3 and then I just watch it.
I have to be a little bit more clandestine because like this show cannot be on the big screen when anybody's home. Or I'm just gonna get weird looks.
The end of episode 3 shows you how like fucked the Creature Commandos are though, because what's her name, Cersei?
Yeah,
she's like they get the jump on her after they kill GI Robot, and Weasel gets her, and he starts just mauling the shit out of her, and Dr. Phosphorus just starts melting her fucking face, dude. And she basically says like, we're doomed now. They like saved the princess.
They saved the princess.
So there's some kind of plot twist coming in episode 4. But I just wanted to shout out that end scene where Bride's like, "You wanted monsters, you got monsters." And it's just Dr. Phosphorus burning her face and Weasel fucking her shit up. Also, when that when I watched the GI Robot episode go down, I was like, as soon as a GI Robot figure comes out, I'm buying it.
Yes.
Bride and GI Robot figure. I want the whole Creature Commandos, but like, I definitely want fucking GI Robot. Like, I need a GI Robot.
Yes. I would say him, and if they find a way to make it real cool and kind of translucent looking, Dr.
Well,
Phosphorus.
yeah, that would be fire too. He was the obvious second for me. Yeah. But GI Robot just like, I don't know, man. He's a Nazi killer, like in the DC universe. Like, you know what's crazy? If you go on Key Collector and you click on DC and character, Adolf Hitler's an option to click on.
Yes, because he shows up. Well, weirdly enough, Marvel too, because Captain America was fucking plugging Hitler. Yeah. If you look up Hitler and Mussolini, they show up in comic books a lot. Like Hitler more so than my boy Mussolini, but occasionally he makes an odd appearance.
Yeah. No, for surely. But no, dude, I'm really excited to see see like where this goes, like I feel like because they're doing character introductions one by one, I feel like there's a season 2 coming, like planned out.
Oh yeah.
Like I hope this gets the Harley Quinn like Kite Man treatment, like just all right, season 1 did great, season 2 now. And this is something I'm buying on DVD, Blu-ray. Like, I'll buy a Blu-ray player. I have a DVD VCR player, but I'll buy a Blu-ray player for this.
Yes.
Because the soundtrack is fucking awesome, and I want to see some, like, background, like, fucking, like, storyboard, like, whatever, like...
Yeah, you almost kind of want to see the making of,
Yeah, like, really bad if they do put it out there.
Yeah. Which again, like, make Blu-ray great again. Like, start putting extra features on your fucking Blu-ray there.
I'll pay $25 for a DVD. I'll pay $30 for a DVD that has like 4 hours of bonus features and like, or like an extended cut. Like, I'll fucking rock with that. I want to say though, James Gunn did promise he'll leak the behind the scenes voice acting of the sex scene. Black Senior and the princess.
Yes.
And it was hilarious. It was just like her like kissing her hand and like moaning, dude. It was fucking hilarious. I meant to send it to you. Send it to you.
Yeah, send it, man. I want to fucking see this. Real quick though. One thing about GI Robot, and I think you'll like this, Easy Company, same company as Band of Brothers.
Oh, okay. Because the guy asked him, he's like, I know you're programmed to kill Nazis, but if you had one desire, what would it be? And he said to see Easy Company, and names all of his first crewmates and says, while we kill Nazis. I was like,
I think the battle that they are portraying is after the D-Day landings in France.
Okay,
I believe because
more importantly,
was airborne.
Yeah, but more importantly, I think when he saves Nina, that was like a moment of like, oh man, like GI's like AI is really starting to like develop because like he like pauses when she puts her hand on his like robot hand, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like I don't think this is the end of him, and I think the squad is gonna get like, they're kind of like this right now, and I think it's gonna just be like the Suicide Squad. Like even a Psyche, the anime, they start out the same way. The Suicide Squad, they're like, it's not canon to the DC universe because it's but they start out like separated, and then they just start flowing together by episode 4, like 5, So and I think once we see all the characters develop or get all their background, they can really just be like, all right, this is what they can do together. Like,
and I mean, that's team building 101, you know? You gotta
No, for
let
sure. James Gunn's cooking, man. Like when I was watching it, I was like, dude, you are absolutely like on fire right now. Plays him,
yes.
but I think that man is on one with this, and I think he knows he is.
Yeah. All right, I got a quick question for you. It's James Gunn related. Scooby Doo 3?
I'd be down. I'd be down because you could do them all older. Sarah's
Yeah.
alive. Matthew
And
Lillard
he's
is
alive.
steady cooking.
And, yeah, and
Like
yes.
he's steady doing appearances at cons, and he looks good.
Yes, and he's
Sarah got some work done. She doesn't look bad, but
Linda Carterini, she's still very active and still very hot.
yeah. So I mean, and James Gunn, like, I think he can make Scooby look better than ever. Like,
oh yeah, and it just kind of not necessarily update it for because the weird thing that I thought about the first two Scooby Doo movies was that they were very reminiscent of like the Brady Bunch movies, where everybody else but them is in like 2009 and they're like in the 70s still, you know? Like,
a little bit.
So like, just kind of see how Mystery Inc. deals with like the real fucking world, you know? Like,
I agree. But no, I wouldn't be mad. I think I'm more excited though to see what he does with the DC universe.
yes.
I think we're eating at DC. Then we got announced there's a fifth season of Harley Quinn coming out.
Oh shit!
And they're going
right.
to Metropolis this season.
Ooh.
And Brainiac is basically trying to rid the world of imperfection. Like the big bad.
Loki kind of like how Brainiac is kind of making a resurgence in Superman lore. Like,
I mean, not even that. He's the villain for the Creature Commando comic right now, the miniseries.
Yes. Like
he's just kind of like coming back as a whole, like.
Yeah, that's
Harley Quinn's
saying,
not
like,
Superman.
Yeah, no. And I'm just glad that out of all the Superman, not all of them, there's Zod and Brainiac were always my two favorites, like top tier. Luthor was just so prevalent throughout any incarnation of Superman that, like, yeah, he is kind of Superman's main antagonist, but I did like Brainiac because anytime they brought him in, it was always something weird and creepy and kind of scary, you know?
I love Doomsday because he walks that man like a dog every now and again.
Yes.
He shows you that Superman can get walked.
Walked.
Yes. I mean, there's other stuff too. I mean, I have a super suit Lex Luthor over there. Like, fucking. I need to read more Superman though. I haven't read enough Superman to determine my.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I watched a lot of the movies growing up. I watched a lot of the cartoons growing up. And I've read like things that had Superman and Brainiac like in it, kind of like a la Dark Knight Strikes Again. So like he's the one that I particularly like, but again, I haven't read like the entire.
So you haven't read anything with them in a long ass time, though, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
You read
but also
one
like,
thing.
well, a few.
Named like one thing from fucking.
Yeah, and I mean, I read that when that was already like 10 to 15 years old.
You need to do some more readings, what you're saying.
Yes. But tentatively, top two favorite Superman. That may change.
Yeah, it may. You gotta read it, man.
Yeah.
Admit that you haven't read much Superman.
Yeah, I mean, but I definitely am excited for Superman, James Gunn's movie going. I'm excited for DC going forward. I think they're on the up and up. I really think the years of the not good DC movies are kind of at an end.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think we're eating it whole. I think they have it mapped out. And then they also announced that Clayface.
Yes.
That will be. Wonder how they're gonna portray.
Yeah.
Apparently, Clayface is not going to be portrayed as the villain. That's going to be very interesting. I wonder who's the big bad is going to be.
Yes. And I have high hopes for the casting as well. I think that's a meaty role. Makes it.
Yeah. I wonder who they are going to pick. I mean, I'm interested. I'm all ears and eyes until they do. And I haven't seen anything that looked very exciting. It's supposed to be a horror. I don't know, dude. I'm stoked. I'm very stoked. That's all I can say. Dudes, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Me and Juju will be back with more content very soon. If you cannot wait, we have a bunch of YouTube shorts out. We have a new one about Doctor Doom out, stealing Christmas, and then we do a live stream every Friday and Saturday at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch at BrainDeadXTV. Friday and Saturday, 12 a.m. Come hop in the chat and talk shit live. We do a comic review at a different one every day, and then a bunch of random topics that we don't repeat here on Twitch. I also want to say I hope everybody's watching. I know me and G. Did you watch any last night?
Watched Krampus.
Okay. Hell yeah.
I had to. I'm gonna watch it again on Christmas Eve because that is like tradition now.
I was told the Hawkeye series is Christmas based.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like it's set during Christmas, so I'm gonna start watching that probably tonight. That or I'm gonna watch. Either gonna find an older Christmas movie to watch, or I'm gonna watch The Night Before with Seth Rogen and all.
Yes.
Because I am an Andy Mackie stan. Anthony Mackie, not Andy.
Yes. I may sometime this week actually sit down and watch The Grinch again. I went to go see it in the movie theater last year when it re-released.
Which one? The old one?
No, the Jim Carrey one.
Yeah. Okay. All right, hell yeah! I haven't watched The Grinch in forever.
Really interesting fact though, the 25th anniversary is an extended cut, so there's a bunch of stuff that were deleted out of the theatrical that they put in.
Oh, all right, I'm here for it. Hey y'all, with that fun fact, that wraps up our podcast. Remember, happy holidays. Me and Juju will put out another one before then, I believe. So
yes,
stay tuned for the Christmas pod. You know what I'm saying? We'll have some Christmas joy here and there for you. And I'll be live on Twitch as well, streaming Marvel Rivals here and there with some boys. So make sure to check that out at BrainDeadXTV. Turn your notifications on. And remember, never offended and always recommended, my dudes. Later.